Hi, we're Wiser Systems. I'm Seth Hollar, CEO.
And I'm Logan Maxwell, wearer of many hats.
And today we're going to talk about something a little timely, with namely the AWS fallout that happened a few days ago. So if you had kids, you might have noticed that they weren't able to access their homework assignments because their websites or school websites were down. Or if you were maybe in an industrial facility and you relied on a software tool that was in the cloud, that might not have been working either.
Yes.
So today we just kind of want to talk about the pros and cons of on-premise versus in the cloud. Obviously this one might be a little focused towards on-premise, at least for now. But anyways, Logan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I am old enough to remember that I did my homework on paper and all my programs were on-prem. So yes, hopefully we put this video out in time. That's really the other option here. Hopefully remember to hit record and we put this video out in time. But yes, essentially huge AWS outage. It was pretty much disrupted everything. I know my wife was doing stuff via HubSpot and that got all disrupted too. So it's a timely thing to put out, and it really, a lot of times, Wiser ends up being deployed on premise, right? That isn't to say that cloud can't be trusted or its uptime is in question. It's just that we want to use this as a way to highlight that it is a little differentiated for these sorts of high-tech sensor systems with front ends and data that we can offer it completely on premise. And in fact, largely do that in the manufacturing sector, and especially in sensitive industries like aerospace. Everything is hosted on-prem. We offer a cloud version. A lot of people like the cloud version as well, but this video is really more to highlight the fact that you can do both, and I think that's a little different than a lot of the other sorts of systems out there.
Yeah, sure, and not to put too much of my design CTO hat on, but it really depends fundamentally early on how you architected it. Sometimes with the solution that's been designed to be cloud, it's very hard to move over to on-premise.
Right.
We've had the benefit of being able to do both, and we do get lots of customers who want to do it on-premise. What are some of the reasons why they might want to do it on-premise?
Well, first and foremost is security, I think, and ease of integration into a corporate IT landscape. So corporate IT is really, really hesitant often. I don't want to say that's your corporate IT, you probably know it is, but a lot of times there's a hesitancy to punch holes in firewalls, allow data back and forth internally. Any open access to the internet or any other network other than their own is usually not okay.
So I'd like to say we've had lots of experience with companies filling out a large questionnaire, IT questionnaire related to security.
Yeah.
And once they understand that it's on premise, what's the general reaction?
Yeah, I think 3/4 of it ends up being not applicable usually. But that not being, when we're doing a cloud deployment, we have to do those questionnaires every time we do any site. But yeah, the on-prem really from a security perspective, really, okay, that isolates a lot. It can be on its own little virtual local area network. The server can be on its own little virtual machine, running there, completely internal and isolated on your own
Or
network.
it could be completely air-gapped.
Yes, completely air-gapped, absolutely. And yeah, physically air-gapped. I mean, you could use your own switches and everything. It could be completely isolated, no touch at all. Which is useful. That's really number one. Number two is actually the ownership and access of your own data. And I feel like that's another thing that ends up being streamed and monetized from other systems, is you're really having to buy and claw back the own data that you've generated. And so for a lot of sites, even our cloud, we're gonna give you back the data that you're generating, right? It's there.
Yeah, the whole idea with the system is to provide ease of getting the location data.
Right, and so our cloud is built to get that data back to you so you can store it on your side. We'll store it if you want, but a lot of times we're gonna try to just give that back to you, even in just a SQL database, so you have all the historical movement trends. But the on-prem means it's right there, the access is right there, everything that's being generated, the server, oh man, there's so many options here. The server can be run no-touch cloud on-prem, right? Or like on-prem itself. But that being there and generating the data there means that you can basically push and pull data in the immediacy is that it's right there at the edge. And so I can take data directly into ERP or MES through any sort of middleware and push data back and forth because it's running right there on site.
The other side of it is it might be a mission critical service that you're running where any sort of internet disruptions can't be tolerated. So in those cases, running it on-prem makes perfect sense. Now, to say that maybe the internet goes out more or less often than your own internet, or I guess intranet. Or
Intranet, yes.
That's a debate to be had. But security, wanting to own everything, and also just reliability are probably three things that come in mind.
Yeah.
Should also note that I don't know if it's worth noting here, but would we talk to clients? Typically we talk to the process engineers or process improvement engineers, production managers, and there's always a concern about how IT will react when you talk about putting things on the cloud. So sometimes it's just a much easier pathway. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times to the process engineers or the people that are in charge of the project, it's really half a dozen one way, six the other in whether it's cloud or on-prem. It's usually in order to get a project pushed through the corporate approval process, corporate IT can be a barrier to that, and just making things on-prem makes everything much more simple.
I think that's all I wanted to add there, except for how to reach us if you have questions.
Sure. There's contact form. There's email, contact email. There's phone, and we have social medias. We have LinkedIn. We have a bunch of different options. I will say we are also in no way affiliated with AWS. Where's our legal? Yeah, AWS and Amazon are trademarks of Amazon Inc., registered in the US and other countries. Wiser Systems is not affiliated and or endorsed by Amazon or AWS.
Thank you all. Talk to you later. That was very nicely done.